What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, just extremely busy right now. What's going on with you?
I just don't know what this change is necessary for.
I know, I often wonder the same question. Customers really like us, we hardly have any complaints, so I'm wondering why we need this change as well.
Hi guys, how you doing? I'm so glad you asked that question. Yes, in today's world we are doing things and we're making customers happy, but we have to think about the future world. Do you realize that in 2020, less than half of the orders that we have are going to be future orders? Remember we talked about the speed initiative? It's going to completely change the way we do business. So we need to be able to evolve to support that business. Today works for today's world, but today doesn't work for tomorrow's world. So that's why we need to continue to change and evolve. Hey, Jamie.
Hey, Chet. I had a quick question for you. You know how Michael Halaman talked a lot about SLD growing in the near future? How's that going to affect us and team?
That is a great question. Really, we don't really know what's going to happen with SLD at this point. There's a whole strategic plan that's getting developed as we speak that's really going to sort of outline how we can use SLD to our strategic advantage in North America. So with that are going to come some plans in terms of how do we best support that, both from a manufacturing standpoint, from a service standpoint, from a shipping aspect. We don't know how that's going to happen. There may be some responsibilities that may shift to here, there may not. But we're really waiting for the whole plan to get developed first before we really can kind of figure out how that impacts every area.
So I wonder what our next steps are and what we have to do for the CS evolution.
Yeah, I wonder when they're going to give us the details so we know what direction we want to go in.
Hi guys, how's the water tasting today?
Fabulous.
Good, I couldn't help but overhear your questions, and I would like to take this opportunity to answer them. So, remember the job description exercise that we went through earlier this year? We laid out what we're looking for within those job descriptions. So really, expectations are laid out there in terms of what it's need to do your job on a day-to-day basis. But also, we've laid out expectations like we have every year in targets. So the targets and the job descriptions really outline what's expected. The targets are going to continue to evolve over time as they do normally. But we'll make sure that everybody's on board and understands expectations. So really, no surprises. Job description, targets.
Do you think that the CS evolution is going to help us support in-house promotion better? Will we be promoting directly, or are we going to keep going with the interview and application process that we have been doing?
Well, that's a great question. I can't say that there will never be promotions, but philosophically, I really don't like promotions, to be honest with you. I think in our department, I think the interview process, the posting and interview process gives full transparency to open positions, and it provides the opportunity for anybody that's interested to express their interest through an application. So I think that promotions on one hand can reward a certain individual, but on the other hand, I think it's a negative aspect for the overall department. We want full transparency to the jobs that we have, and we want to hire the best qualified folks for that. So I think it's an internal examination of how we can get better, and through that, it's actually using the people that are doing the job to help us with that. So that's one piece of it. And then the other thing is we're continually identifying systematic ways in which we can improve our efficiencies as well. So we're looking at this from a procedural process standpoint and a systematic. Through that, we become less and less transactional focused and more automated, because the overall goal of this is the only thing we want people ultimately really dealing with as far as the system is concerned are exceptions, are problems. And that's ultimately where we're going to go.
Well, with the CS change.
You bet you! I'm so glad you brought that up. All of us are responsible for changing in this organization. CS Evolution impacts me, it impacts the entire leadership team. For us to be successful, we all have to evolve. We have to evolve to where the company's going. And as an organization, I know that we can do it.
Well, I think the question on everybody's mind is, how is CS evolution going to impact our job security?
Well, I look at it the other way, which is if we don't evolve as an organization, I think that creates more insecurity than evolving. You know, if we look at creating the new and everything that's been rolled out in terms of how the company's approaching the marketplace differently, every organization in the company, from marketing, from sales, to global operations have gone through a complete transformation, or in the process of a complete transformation, because we need to do business differently. We recognize that we've got a huge opportunity out there that we're not hitting. And when we look at, for example, in the U.S. with a 4.8% market share, things are not great. We need to do things differently. So I tie this back to the company is going through a huge transformation. If we don't transform with the rest of the company, we're going to be left behind. And I'd rather be in front of this whole thing. So the security to me is continuing to change and evolve. That's more security than just continuing to do things like we've always done it.
Thank you.
Come sit.
Thank you.
How's your day going?
The day's going great. How's your day going?
It's going well. I think we're going to make it even better. Let's talk CS Evolution.
Okay, that sounds like a great idea.
I love that idea. Actually, I've been burning to ask this question. How have you encouraged the leaders to become better coaches?
Well, hopefully I've started with trying to be a better example of being a coach myself. I think that's a great place to start, and hopefully I'm trying to lead by example, and hopefully everybody sees that. But the other thing that we're doing is we're talking about it, we're focused on it every week in terms of all the leadership, in terms of how everybody can be a better coach, and that's been a primary focus for us. The other thing is, it's been built into all of our targets, my targets and everybody else, so that we're all accountable for it. And we're spending the time and we're giving it the proper attention.
Good. Yeah, that's not, so how do you think we as leaders are doing so far? And what are some of the great improvements we've made?
I'm just so impressed with the leadership team, because I'm just amazed at how much you guys have evolved with this thing and how much you've embraced it and really looking at your role differently. As we keep talking about moving away from transactions and more into focus on other types of skill sets, for the leadership it's been more around trying to focus on coaching and developing people. And I definitely see that you guys have embraced that as a philosophy, and I definitely see that happening on a day-to-day basis. So I'm very impressed. It's not been an easy transition, and I'm sure we're going to have some more bumps along the way, but to me it's been inspiring to see everybody kind of embrace this.
What about the support roles that we have in our department? How do you think it'll impact them?
Well, that's a great question. I think, again, we're on the journey here. I don't know how it's going to impact all the support roles. I don't know how it's going to impact all the roles. I think that when we sit here and we look at this and where we're going to be 2 years from now or 3 years from now, I think everybody's role is going to change. My role's going to change. My role's evolving. Other people in the leadership positions, their roles are changing. Account specialist roles are going to change, and so are the support roles. So with an evolution process, all of this is going to change and evolve as the business changes and as we get priorities that we need to address.
How have you changed your leadership style, and what have you learned from it?
I hope that I've been evolving. I like to think that I have. I think when I go back to kind of leadership style of where I was probably a few years ago versus now, I'm trying to step back and let people do their jobs. I certainly have been a micromanager. You ask anybody that's reported to me in the past, I've had a tendency sometimes to micromanage. I've tried to step back from that and really provide ownership of the work for the folks that are doing it. And that's how I've tried to evolve, and how I want to see the leadership team evolve as well, is that more of that empowerment, more of the ownership at all levels of the organization. The other thing that to me is really critical is the development of folks. In the past, for me personally, I've spent a lot of time on trying to get systems to improve and things like that, where now I haven't given that up, and we're still working towards that, but the people piece of this has become so much more important in my mind, and making sure that we're maximizing the talent that we have, and then we have really good plans in place together so that we can develop as an organization and develop as individuals, because that's how we're going to move forward. Okay?
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll create any new roles in CS. We could use a group for creativity and innovation.
I think that's a fantastic idea. As a matter of fact, a couple weeks ago, I got together with everybody at CS who's been through the Online Innovation Academy, and we did a bunch of different brainstorming about different possibilities in which we can improve the department. We're going to continue that process throughout the academy, and we're also going to be looking at revitalizing our best practices team too. So I'm excited about it, and keep paying attention to as roles evolve. All right?
Sounds good.
Come on, let's go.
Yes, boss.
Let's talk at the gym and more work. Let's
Yes,
go.
boss. Yes, boss.